Good morning, I am Jason Ellis, and this is Tech Avail News. Today is Friday, March 5th, which is a great day since the weekend is just around the corner. But before we can get there, let's talk about yesterday's news to know going into today's workday. Our first news story of the day, without giving away too many specifics, Warner Media CEO Jason Kilar discussed the future of Harry Potter on an investors call yesterday. He hinted to the Harry Potter franchise still being a massive part of Warner Media, which makes perfect sense because there's really only DC Comics as a big new IP source. So having Harry Potter has to be something that they do capitalize on. We knew earlier in the year that they talked about developing a live action TV series of the Harry Potter world. I guarantee they're probably going to adapt the play into a movie. There's going to be more to this than just a live action TV series. I guarantee probably animation. It's time for them to really mine this resource, especially for HBO Max. Kilar also talked about the potential of doing an ad-free subscription to HBO Max. He didn't give any timeline, but he did come out to say not everyone can subscribe to the platform at the current pay level, which I also think is a very smart thing since HBO is a known more expensive entity. So HBO Max needs to be more for the masses and to be able to compete with Acorn, IMDb TV, and even now Paramount Plus, who announced that they will have a free ad-supported tier. Next, and not too surprising, Elle and Dakota Fanning have announced the launch of their own production company called Llewellyn Pictures. They've been in this industry for a long time, so it's great to see them actually come together and make their own company. They have a first look deal in TV with MRC Television, who obviously know Elle Fanning very well because they are the producers and partial financiers to Hulu's The Great, which is doing fantastic for Hulu and actually setting the precedent for period pieces. The amount of times I hear people go, if it's period, it needs to feel like The Great, modern, fresh, smart. So that's really, really great to see these two companies come together and make a potential new partnership. The Fanning sisters, their first new project that they announced is the adaptation of the book The Last House Guest, written by author Megan Miranda. The plan is to make this into a crime thriller series. MRC has almost been competing with Amazon on making really cool first look deals with people. Recently, they did a deal with Cynthia Erivo, Dave Erickson, Julia Garner from Ozarks, Ryan Johnson. So MRC is starting to really put their money out there. And if The Great is a good example of starting a really nice partnership with a fantastic actress, good on the Fanning sisters and good on our MRC. So we'll see what comes of their entity. So a little critical story here, but it's amazing the amount of reboots that are coming back onto TV. I get why it's essentially a sure hit, safe bet for networks, especially when they're trying to, launch the streaming services. But they just announced yesterday that Starz is bringing back Party Down as a limited series. I love Party Down, not knocking it at all. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But it's just another known IP that's not that old and is coming out again. I mean, other recent announcements, The Moody's for Fox is getting a reboot season 2. Frasier and Saved by the Bell on Peacock. Yes, Saved by the Bell is doing very good. It's been rehashed. Still Saved by the Bell. iCarly on Paramount Plus. True Blood for HBO. Dexter for Showtime. It keeps going. These are great stories. Big fans of all of them, but it's a little disheartening when there's so many great writers and producers who have fresh ideas. It'd be great to see these new streamers, these networks, take bets on them. They are, of course, but just seeing these massive titles being reboots is kind of going, okay. We've seen it. Versus make a spin-off series, make a sequel, take the world and do a brand new story to it. That I think will be a little bit more interesting, not just a rehash. So we'll see how great Party Down is. I expect it to be really funny, but it'd just be nice to see a little bit less reboots out there and more reimaginings, and or let's get some new titles out there to really, boost or some new voices. In casting news, Mika Abdallah and Jake Short have grabbed the leads of the upcoming feature Sex Appeal. This is being produced by American High, who've done The Binge, The Ultimate Playlist of Noise. So if you know those movies, you understand what Sex Appeal is going to be. YA, comedy, over the top. I read the script. It's very funny. So I really hope Mika and Jake just kind of hit that right tone and crush it. I have pretty good trust in America High. And the great part is they're actually giving a first-time feature director a chance at this one. Talia Osteen is coming on to helm this pick. So pretty cool and funny script, so hopefully it comes out really well. In TV news, Ryan Murphy is continuing the American Crime Story 4FX series, and this iteration is the impeachment of Bill Clinton, and they've announced that Edie Falco has come on to play Hillary Clinton. She is joining Clive Owen, who's Bill Clinton, and Beanie Feldstein as Monica Lewinsky. I'm personally not a fan of the American Crime Story, but I know the O.J. Simpson trial did very well for FX, and there's 100% of fan base to this, so I think Edie Falco's a pretty cool cast for Hillary Clinton. Since we're talking about Ryan Murphy already, might as well keep going. Ryan Murphy has announced that this is the third and final season of the FX hit series Pose. It is going to be premiering on March 2nd. Kind of unfortunate because Pose is a really, really smart, really great series. It brought fantastic LGBTQ issues and talent to television. So hopefully and most likely, Ryan Murphy has other shows that he's going to continue to work on to promote the LGBTQ community, because Pose is a really great starting block and really brought a new view that hasn't been seen on TV and to a community that hasn't been put on TV as much as it could and should be. So we'll see what happens with Ryan Murphy next, but Pose is wrapping up, and May 2nd will be the last season premiere. In pandemic news, New York and San Francisco have decided it is time to start reopening movie theaters. San Francisco and New York, they are keeping them at what they're calling is matinee level, so it's 25% capacity. San Francisco is allowing concessions. New York is not, which little tricky to allow concessions, especially when the mask mandate is still ongoing and you're putting people into a closed, contained space. We'll see what happens, but it is nice seeing theaters starting to reopen. LA, I'd be surprised anytime soon, but who knows? I think we're seeing that people are wanting to go back to theaters, wanting to obviously get out of quarantine. So I think the rollout of New York and San Francisco will be a really nice testing block for major cities out there. So let's keep an eye on that, to say the least. And since it is Friday, let's announce a couple of movies that are coming out over the weekend. Boss Level, starring Frank Grillo and directed by Joe Carnahan, is coming out. It's a Groundhog's Day essential type of movie where a guy wakes up every day and just has to go on a killing spree, doesn't know why, doesn't know how he got into the situation, just has to do it, and then he's going to start eventually getting out of this conundrum. Raya the Last Dragon for Disney and Disney Plus is doing a same day release in theaters and on Disney Plus. Disney Plus is doing it as a $30 premium purchase, but Raya the Last Dragon is getting great reviews. A little criticism just from what I've been reading about the Southeast Asia culture. Haven't seen it yet. I am excited to see it. I think it's going to do very well for them. Chaos Walking for Lionsgate is finally coming out. Tom Holland, Daisy Ridley. This has essentially been waiting to be released for almost, I believe, 3 years. The reviews are not good. It's almost kind of trying to capitalize on the success of Tom and Daisy. I'm hearing, don't waste your time. That's my gut to listen to that as well, because why it hasn't been held for so long if it was an amazing movie. And finally, one that I'm very excited about, and was actually dropped last night to people's surprise. Amazon has the sequel to Coming to America being called Coming to America. Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, reprising their roles. I literally watched the first one last night because it's so freaking funny. It still stands up to today. So I really hope the sequel does its justice. 30 years in the making. So very excited to see Eddie Murphy have his come back, and I think this is a great title for him to do it at. Those are our top news stories of today. Hope you guys have a great Friday. If you have any comments and ways you'd like me to improve or stories to tell, please leave it in the comments section. And please, please, please like and subscribe. I'm having a blast doing this. I hope this first week has done it justice, but let's keep going, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Appreciate your time. Bye, guys.